If I asked you to name the best players of the 2010s, you'd probably mention names like Mike Trout, Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer, or Miguel Cabrera. However, one name that you probably wouldn't name is Buster Posey. In fact, nowadays people seem to forget how good Buster Posey was in the 2010s. This is strange to me, as Buster Posey played for a very successful franchise in the San Francisco Giants that won 3 World Series in the decade. And as we so often see in baseball and other sports, a certain number of rings a player has, or a lack thereof, can often change their public perception for the best or for the worst. In this video, I'm going to go into the career of Buster Posey and why he is so underappreciated by baseball fans. Buster Posey was born on March 27, 1987, in Leesburg, Georgia, and grew up as an Atlanta Braves fan. While attending high school, Posey played 4 sports. His most prolific sport was baseball, as it was a two-way player for the baseball team. As a junior, Buster set school highs in batting average and RBIs. He also had a 10-1 record with a 1.53 ERA as the team's ace. Then as a senior, he has set the school record with 14 home runs and topped his pitching performance as a junior with a perfect 12-0 record and a 1.06 ERA and 108 strikeouts. After the season, he was named the Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year, and even though he was drafted into the 2005 MLB Draft of the Angels, he chose to play in college for Florida State. Buster started his college career as a shortstop, but moved to catcher for his sophomore season. He had the best season as a junior in 2008, as he had a .463 average, 26 home runs, and a 93 RBIs. He was named the Collegiate Baseball Player of the Year for 2008. That wasn't even Buster's most impressive feat of the season, as on May 10th, Buster Posey played all 9 positions and hit a grand slam in the same game. It's safe to say Buster Posey was really good at baseball in college. Buster then declared for the 2008 draft as the best collegiate player in the nation and was the top catcher on the board. Buster was drafted 5th overall by the San Francisco Giants in the 2008 MLB Draft. Posey was given the largest signing bonus in Giants history at $6.2 million. At this point, Buster Posey went from a high school superstar to the best college player on the planet to a millionaire at only 21 years old. This had to be the peak for Buster Posey, right? Wrong. This was just the beginning. Going into the 2009 season, Buster Posey was ranked the second-ranked prospect in the Giants system by Baseball America, only behind his future teammate Madison Bumgarner. In only 80 games in Class A ball, he hit .326 with 13 home runs. In July, he was called up to AAA and hit .321 with 5 home runs in 35 games. In early September, starting catcher Benji Molina suffered an injury, and Posey was called up. And he made his MLB debut on September 11, 2009 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Posey started the 2010 season in AAA, but was called up after recording a .349 batting average with 6 home runs. Posey hit his first career home run on June 9th against the Cincinnati Reds. Buster Posey then went on a tear in July 2010. He recorded a 2.2 WAR and a 215 WRC+, and won Player of the Month. That 2.2 WAR was the third best mark of any player's month in 2010. In 108 games, Posey had a 4 WAR and 134 WRC+, and finished first in Rookie of the Year voting. The Giants made the playoffs, and with Posey behind the plate, for every game, they won their first World Series in 56 years and their first in San Francisco. During the series, Posey became the 5th rookie catcher to hit a home run in the World Series. Posey was an important keg of the Giants' 2010 World Series machine, led by Tim Lincecum, Aubrey Huff, and Brian Wilson. Coming off a dream first season, Buster Posey had a sophomore slump and only managed a 1.8 WAR, though he was still an above-average hitter with a 216 WRC+. Due to a slump by the whole team, the Giants missed the playoffs in 2011. However, Posey and the Giants would have a major rebound in 2012. Buster Posey wasn't just elite in 2012. He had one of the best seasons a catcher has ever had. In 2012, Buster Posey put up a .336 batting average, .406 on-base percentage, and a .957 OPS. You might be thinking, those are really, really good numbers, but are those really MVP caliber numbers? However, Posey played half his games at the giant, pun intended, AT&T Stadium. which greatly reduced his surface level stats. If we look closer in at the numbers, we can see Buster Posey put up the best catcher season of the 2010s and maybe the best one ever. The first thing I want to mention is positional value. Positional value is a simple concept. The harder your position is to play defensively, you'll have more value for the same or worse numbers. This is why reigning AL MVP Jose Abreu was ranked as only the 31st best player in baseball by MLB Network. One of the reasons for his lower ranking is Abreu plays first base, the second easiest position to play behind DH. This makes his number less impressive than players who play much harder positions like catcher or shortstop. This also factors not just into overall value, but fielding value, as a bad defensive catcher like Will Smith of the Dodgers still produces more value than a good defensive first baseman like Paul Goldschmidt. With this in mind, we can see why Posey won NL MVP in 2012, as he posted an insane 10.1 F4 with 16 defensive runs saved. Along with a 164 WRC+, which ranked first, a home 406 WOBA, which ranked second, an 11.3 walk percentage, which ranked 7th in the National League. The only players to match a 10.1 F4 in the 2010s are Mike Trout and Mookie Betts. That's it. Now let's compare this season to other historic catcher seasons in history. 2017, the Baseball Scholar website ranked the top 10 offensive catcher seasons ever. Out of the seasons on the list, Buster had the highest F4 by a full win and had the third highest B-WAR. The only season that is comparable by F4 is Mike Piazza's 1997 season, and where he put up a 9.1 F4. Posey is also the best catcher on this list. With that said, I truly believe Buster Posey's 2012 season was the best single season a catcher has ever had, and it is sad how many baseball fans seem to forget it. And even though Posey finishes this remarkable season with another World Series ring, as the Giants swept the Tigers in the World Series, when we talk about the best seasons of the 2010s, we hardly ever mention this one. This is why I also believe Buster Posey's 2012 season was the most underrated season of the 2010s. I want to end this video on a retrospective of Buster Posey's career and how he has shaped his legacy since that 2012 season. Since 2012, Posey has posted a 37 R-WAR and a 90 DRS over 7 seasons and made 5 All-Star teams. Posey also maintained an above-average WRC+ until 2019 and won another World Series in 2014. Even though Posey's stats in the last 7 years are elite, it looks like his time as a top-tier catcher are over, as he has had by far the worst offensive season of his career in 2019 and opted out of the COVID-shortened 2020 season. Buster Posey was by far the best catcher in the decade and had the second highest WAR of any position player not named Mike Trout. This, in my mind, should make Posey a Hall of Famer, but that doesn't seem to be a very agreed-upon opinion. Many people discredit Posey's case because of his lower career WAR numbers than other Hall of Fame catchers. If Posey were to be elected with the same WAR he has now, he would have the second lowest WAR out of any Hall of Fame catcher since integration, and the only one who has less WAR is Roy Campanella, who won 3 MVPs before his career was cut short because of an injury. However, Posey is far from a one-hit wonder, as he averages more than 5 WAR per season for his career. The problem with his case is that he might not have enough seasons at that top-tier level that the other Hall of Fame catchers have. There is something that Buster Posey has that separates him from almost every other catcher in the Hall of Fame, that he was the best player on a team that was a legitimate dynasty. I don't think people understand how incredible that is. For a catcher to not only be the best player on a World Series winning team, but the best on a dynasty, especially how hard it is to consistently hit from that position, Posey was able to do it. Buster Posey defined a generation of catchers and always delivered for his team. He has always been underappreciated by the league and the fans. Buster Posey deserves more. He deserves more credit. He deserves a spot in Cooperstown. And most of all, he deserves to be remembered as a big piece in the puzzle of baseball history.